All right, so if you have any question for me, please, you guys know my assistant has been doing a great job responding to comments, trying to help us answer some of your DMs. But sometimes she comes across DMs that can't be answered. And from my work, I can't answer those DMs. So I said I was going to come on here and take some of those questions. All right, so drop your question in the question box if you have any question, and I will be right here to answer them. Hi, Mika from the UK. As you join us today, I'd like to know where you are joining us from. I am calling from Chicago right now. So yeah, I am in Chicago. Let us know where you are joining from, and use the question box to ask your questions. Because some of the questions you guys are asking in the DM, she can't answer. So she's trying to get, the questions answered, but some of them are personal, some of them she just doesn't have answers. And I told her I would come here and take some of your questions. So let's start with some of the questions. All right. I planned on not talking about any big topic today. Hi, from, who's that? Okay. Thank you for joining from Canada, from Nigeria. Always, my people have gotten home from work. And Martin's from the UK. So, are there questions yet in the question box? No questions yet. So you guys just want us to hang out here today. I think one of the areas that this year people were interested in a whole lot that I talked about once was Industry 4.0. So if you have questions in that, I think Industry 4.0 is just crazy, right? So these days I look and I see it evolve in a direction where blockchain is powering NFT, and I'm not an NFT guru, and I have not delved into that too much, but it's just exciting to see blockchain powering that. So yeah, one question in the question box. Let's see what it is. Okay, what's your best way to secure scholarship? The school people, what's the best way to secure a scholarship? How does one search for options? I think I've done a lot of videos on how to find a professor and how to look for direct admission. So for this question, I think you could go on my YouTube channel. And I did a very good video with Professor Charles, who is a professor, right? On how do you get a professor if you're trying to get into grad school, what should you write in your email that would get them to respond to you and hopefully lead to a scholarship. You probably want to look at that. So how do you get a scholarship? There are probably a couple of methods. There's direct admission and scholarship, and then there is indirect. So the direct admission one is the process where you actually don't need to talk to any professor. Talking to a professor is a plus. So you don't need to talk to a professor. The school has scholarships. You apply and you have to submit all the requirements, and the best man wins. That's the direct admission. In that case, you may also still write to a professor, but it's not compulsory. Indirect one, the professor owns the money, and you have to find a professor, or you have to get that professor to accept that you can contribute to their research, you can work in the lab effectively, and they recommend you to the school for admission once you guys reach a level ground that you would be an addition that will make sense to his lab. So there are also graduate assistantships that departments offer. So depending on your situation, the country you're focusing on, and the professor you're working with, and also the field you're focusing on, it will vary like that. Okay, next question. What aspect of Industry 4.0 can an agriculturist delve into? Okay. Well, I think agriculture is broad, right? So, people talk about agriculture like there's a one way. I think it's broad. For me, I think we have to look at it from, okay, what part of agriculture do you mean? Do you mean animal? Do you mean plant? Do you mean forestry? There's so many different categories. I think it'll be a little hard to answer this question because I was planning to spend 30 minutes on here. If I delve into this question and try to cover all of the different areas of agriculture, whether crop or food, or whether just plant and not crop, or animal, or even forestry, I think it'll take a while. But there are a whole lot of things happening in that space, right? Please, let's get specific with that question again. I would love to do, I'd love to do a master's in biotechnology. What do you think is the future of biotechnology? I intend to do it in the UK. Biotechnology is also broad, right? So when you're thinking biotechnology, what's your background? Where are you coming from, right? So if you're coming from the biology background, so there are areas that you focus on. If you're coming from the technology background, maybe you've done physics, maybe you've done mathematics, there are also areas you could do. So to this person, what's your background? Are you more on the bio side or you're more from the engineering side? How to secure, somebody's asking how to secure internship this summer. All right, I don't know the country you're in. If you're in the US, you're trying to secure internship this summer. I really, there are different methods to secure internship. I think you should probably, if you're in the US, for example, you should have probably thought about attending NSB, SWE, Black MBA, all of these different conferences where you have access to talk to recruiters directly. Afrotech, I think those conferences, I remember when I was in school, I hustled in those conferences to get myself, a foot in the door, internships, a job and stuff like that. So if you're in the US, that is probably a good way because they'll see you directly. Now that COVID is happening, some of these conferences are also happening virtually, so you can still do that. Well, also, the second option is apply. Apply to those companies that you want to have to intern with. Apply to them if you haven't been able to go to conferences. Number 3, go on LinkedIn. Use LinkedIn to your advantage a little bit in that sense. But yeah, I think a good internship starts with a good resume. You have to start with having a good resume before you can start to write to anybody. So I think you probably want to think about, how does my resume look? Is it selling me well? Does it have the right keywords on it? Thinking about what career path am I on? If you're in a broad career path, you have to kind of narrow to one thing and try to say, this is the area I want to pursue an internship on, and go for that. All right. His industrial systems engineering, yes. System engineering is an Industry 4.0 area. So there's system integration. It's very, very good during this time. So I think you should, it depends on why haven't you thought about system engineering being part of Industry 4.0? I'm just wondering, what area of system engineering are you focusing on? Are you just going to school or you haven't started at all? Because yeah, system integration and is central to different companies, especially companies that are doing electric cars. They do a whole lot of that, right? Companies that are trying to do robotics, automation, they do a lot of that. So yes, definitely that is part of the Industry 4.0 area. Okay, so best tech direction, of course, for a banking planning to move to Canada for school. All right, what is the best tech direction course for a bank planning to move to Canada for school? Yeah, business analytics is a good career path if you've been in the banking doing business development. So the question is, what are you doing in banking? So, brother, me politician, awara bado, ekroleo. All right, so I need to ask you, what are you doing in the bank, right? So you can't just say, I work in the bank, right? What do? Are you doing customer solutions? Are you doing business development? Are you doing marketing? What are you doing in the bank, right? Because we can't just assume that everybody that works in the bank do business development, right? If you were doing business development, maybe business analytics would be good, but what exactly are you doing in the bank? We need to know what that career is, right? So it'll be easier to advise you on, for that career path, this is the next thing you should do. Okay. Those top schools. Okay, what is the best route to relocate to Canada? I have a master's in computer science. All right, so there are a couple of ways for you, right? I don't know how old you are, but if you're trying to relocate to Canada, you have a master's in computer science. You could get another master's. That's today on the market. One of the easiest way is to come to school, right? So you can get another master's, or you can go get a PhD. But make sure you don't do a PhD in computer science, because that's broad. You have to try to say, I'm focusing on a particular area. Don't go and do PhD in software development. That does not need a PhD. So you need to pick a particular career in computer science that actually will be lucrative for you if you do a PhD. Else you need to do a master's, a second master's, where it can be in computer science or computer systems. It has to be in another niche area, I would say again. So you can come to school in Canada. There are organizations today that help people who are coming from outside of the country apply for a job and get a job and get your work permit. You are in a computer IT tech space. There are a lot of jobs that needs to be filled in Canada. You can take advantage of that opportunity because you're in a very lucrative field. Maybe you could get a job in Canada without actually having to get permanent residency. The third one is, the federal school work program is pretty much paused right now, but there are still provinces that are still inviting people. So you want to look at PNP programs where computer scientists are needed badly in those provinces. Try to submit your application. If you're already in the pool, try to submit your application to that. Those provinces that are requiring computer scientists, and hopefully you get in. I feel like you probably have a very good chance. You have multiple opportunities. Computer science is highly valuable in Canada, but you have to ask yourself, what area of computer science am I a specialist at? Software development, blockchain, data science, AI, what else? Cloud computing, cybersecurity. Who exactly are you, right? You can't just tell me I'm a computer scientist. That's broad. So we need to know who exactly you are. Are you a cloud computing engineer, a blockchain engineer, software developer, data scientist, AI specialist? Who are you, right? So let us know who you are. Maybe we can help you answer this a lot better. All right, this is why I do mentorship for people, because you can't give me your entire resume in that answer box. So if you can't give me your entire resume, then it's hard for me to give you all the answers you want. And I don't want to mislead you. So my answers may be a little broad, because I'm trying to make sure that I give you a broad answer but still cover it. But this is why people kind of come on the program and give me their resume. I look at it and then say, based on that work experience, based on that education, these are 4 areas you should work on. Let's do a skill map for that. And once we do a skill map, it'll be obvious which is your number one, and that's the one you're going to go pursue, right? But I'll try my best based on the information you people have put it in the box. So I have a study permit for drafting engineering in college in Canada. How do I secure funding? This is one of the mistakes people make. When you're applying for admission, in Canada, most schools offer you admission and funding together. It's not separate. It's mutually exclusive. So if you're going to get admission and want to make sure you get funding, you should be trying to get it together at the same time. You should be looking for a school that can give you both together. Because if you don't get it both together and you've got an admission, now you're looking for funding, it's going to be a lot tougher to find funding when you already have the admission, right? Is it doable? It's possible. For example, this year, STEM Hub Foundation, which is the foundation that I founded, we gave 4 people $5,000 each scholarship. Those people were going to school in Canada. And some of them were master's or PhD students who weren't funded. So you can still find organizations like my organization or others who would give you some funding. But what I'm saying in essence is not guaranteed that after you go get your admission by yourself that you're going to get funding separately. You should be applying for both at the same time. I'm trying to get it together once. That is the easiest and that's the best way to get funding. Okay, next question. Please put your question in the question box so I cannot read tiny things. Okay, fine. Geology. All right, if you don't have any question, you can go in the question box. You can vote for the question that you want me to answer. Right? You can vote. All right. I'll give this person one career path. GIS. Go and look at GIS. If you are a geology graduate, you're thinking about Industry 4.0, GIS is a good career for you. I can give you more, but I don't know your background. So because I don't know your background, I have to be careful there so I don't mislead you. But GIS is a good transition into Industry 4.0 from geology. All right, I hope that helps. I studied economics, services, and business development. All right, you studied economics. With your background in economics, you could do data analysis. Economics, you know a lot of statistics, right? You're good. So you can do data analysis. You've also been doing business development. You can do business analysis. You can do so many things with economics. That's a very good background, right? It's very techy, right? Because it's mathematical. There's so many things you could do with that background. You've worked in business development. You have economics background. Business analytics may be a good one. Data analysis is probably a very good one for you. If you want to push it one step forward, you can do other things with it. All right, so, but let me just give you two and then we'll move on. Because, my brother, I feel like you sent me a message, but my assistant already responded. I will go back to your message. Just buzz me again in the DM, okay? I promise I will come and ask you a question because I saw it and I said I was going to reply, but I was rushing and yeah, she replied and I couldn't find it because she's replied to many other people. I just moved on. But now seeing you here, you should write back to me and I would reply. I'm not certain what path to pursue MSc in AI and data analytics or stay in promising cloud role. I need a little bit of background. What did you study, right? I need to understand where you're trying to go. What's your 5-year goal? So, if I know what you studied, what's your 5 years, what's your 5-year goal look like? Then I would tell you probably A or B. But right now I can't because I don't know your 5-year goal and I don't know what you studied. But I know I hold your conversation, so you should write to me. Okay. You always say never accept, but first of all, some companies give you 24 hours to accept or decline. All right. You always say never accept the first offer. Some company give you 24 hours to accept or decline. The recruiter says that's the final offer. What do you want us to do? This depends on where you are in your career and how lucrative you are. Right. Don't let anybody be rushing anybody. Right. So if you're a fresh graduate, you are going into a graduate development program. You know all those programs that a company will recruit you people, you would work in different sections of the organization for 3 years, and it's a graduate development program. You're just coming out of school. A lot of those programs, how much they want to pay is fixed. The maximum you can get them to move is $5,000. Right, because it's a graduate development program. You're coming in as a board that have nothing in it. They're going to teach you everything. So you have not brought no expertise to the table. They are assuming you're a fresh graduate, you don't know nothing. They are the ones who are investing in you. For that reason, they usually have a fixed amount for those roles. They're not going to move. If you're in that situation, coming out of school, fresh, they are hiring you as entry level, a graduate program. Maybe you should take the offer, but usually don't take the first offer. Still has for 10,000 a month, okay? And if they come back and say, we can't move, oh yeah, take the offer. It doesn't take you more than 5 minutes to draft the email. You just need somebody to coordinate the email with you in a way that makes sense. So that's what I do for people, right? I will assess what you have. Before you came to the US or Canada, do you have any experience? What type of program are you going into? Are you going in as experienced? Or is it a graduate program that you're going into? Or maybe you have already worked, but you are being counted as experienced. No, you have been counted as entry level. So we will fight, even if the role is advertised as entry level, we will fight during that negotiation to tell them you are not entry level. We will show them what you bring to the table, so they bump you from entry level to maybe the second grade. Then you can negotiate. You can do all of that in 24 hours. Just come and talk to me. I'll leave everything. We will find to get you the money. You don't need more than 24 hours to negotiate, to move you up. You don't need more than 24 hours to respond to search. I feel like it would be great to know, are you trying to enter as an entry level? Do you already have experience? A couple of things about you. But the rule is never accept the first offer. It is the real rule. You can't accept the first offer. It's always the lowest. HR are paid to lowball you. That's their job, to pay you less. That's how they're praised. So the first offer is always the lowest offer. So you always have to ask for more. Even if they wouldn't move, you ask. But you can't just ask for more without justifying why do you deserve more. If you are not able to justify that and you ask for more, they will push back and push you to where they're coming from. And you'll not get that money. All right, I hope that helps to some extent. Okay. I started. All right, I studied geography and environmental management, but want to do certificate in cybersecurity. My work experience is in banking. I say this to you guys. Don't tell me banking. What are you doing in bank? You need to tell me. All of it is not adding up. Banking plus environmental plus cybersecurity is not adding up. Help me make sense of it, because I can't see your resume. And don't ask me questions on behalf of somebody that is not here. Okay, Chichi, let me tell you, we have the pandemic going on. You are talking aviation. How many flights are going out of Canada that you're talking aviation? You need to be thinking right now, how do I leave the aviation industry? So our question is, pilot and PhD candidate focused on a research that studies optimization of aircraft maintenance processes. No aviation experience and confused about the next step. How do I combine my research and flying skills for a career in the Canadian aviation industry? Canadian aviation industry is dying because there is not a lot of flights going out. How many things do you guys have in Canada? Air Canada, WestJet, and Kenya. I'm not going to, you're doing a PhD. Because you're doing a PhD, you have 4 years. So you have opportunity to actually do the PhD, but also build other skills that are relevant in other industries that are thriving. Your industry is declining. And that's what you're doing a PhD in. We need to rescue that PhD right now so that you can actually have a portfolio of another industry that is going this way. You need to add that today or since yesterday. Because if we condition into the aviation industry that doesn't have a lot of job right now and don't pay well right now and have pandemic happening to them and we don't know when all of this is going to be over, we are setting you up such that you finish that PhD with painful and very stressful and hard experience and not have prospect to get a good job. So I'm telling you, Chichi, you particularly need to be registered for the Career Competitiveness Mentorship Program. You need to be doing that. The funny thing is the last person I spoke to on my program yesterday, we are crossing now over from the aviation industry to tech. I swear to God. The last person I talked to last night works in Canada in the aviation industry. We're trying to cross her over into tech. And you cannot go and get a PhD in that area without having something else that is thriving right now. You need to get on this. I cannot give you an entire portfolio on here because when you say you are a pilot, I don't really know what that means. I need to see a resume. A PhD candidate is great. What you're doing, aircraft maintenance does not need a PhD. Aircraft maintenance is a job by a technician. Technicians do aircraft maintenance. How do you go do a PhD in what technicians do and then finish a PhD on that and expect a job? There really won't be a job. So you need somebody to help you pivot this towards the right direction, because you're the topic of your research right now and the industry right now, it's not going in the right direction based on COVID-19. You know, when I talk to PhDs, my body used to do, because I know how hard that PhD is. My aim for every PhD is you actually maximize and get something out of that program that'll take you to the next level of your life. Yeah, you need to talk to someone. Unfortunately, my program is not free. You need to pay for it, because we need to have something of what you're doing. To me, overall, I don't see a path to a six-figure job here after this PhD. I'm sorry, but that's the bitter truth. We need to get to help you to go in a direction that would be favorable for you. And you have time. Maybe you still have 2 years or so that we can build another portfolio before you finish that PhD. Thank you. I hope that helps. Those top schools required to secure. I don't know what you're trying to say here, but I'm wondering if you mean if a top school is required to secure a good job. If that's what you mean here, Dr. Otho, it's not. I feel like skill sets and competences are more important than the kind of school you go to. Not everybody will be able to afford Harvard. Not everybody will get admission into Harvard and can pay for it. For that reason, there are many schools. But when you go to these other schools, we have to be able to get you to understand that what do you need to thrive when you get out of that school, so you can get those things, so that when you're getting out of that school, you're competitive. I went to University of Saskatchewan. It's not the greatest school in the country, Canada, and nobody even can call the name Saskatchewan in the US. And I work in the US now. With the certificate I got from Canada, I haven't gone to another school in the US, because skills usually is prioritized over the school name that I have gone to, at least in my career so far. Would I love to have gone to Harvard? Absolutely. But I can't afford it. So I have to go to the one I can afford and maximize it, right? Okay, thank you. I started computer science due to a GPDE with a 2. What is a GPDE? I don't know what that means. And teaching for 6 years. What master's course? You should watch my last video where I spoke about sometimes what you need is not a master's. It's a certificate course. And here you haven't told me where you're trying to get the master's from and what exactly you're trying to get a master's from, right? What did you do your PGDE? I don't know what it means in. You haven't told me any of that, so I don't have any advice for you, because this question is not complete. Hi, Sandra. Doctor, so I applied to 10 recruiters to see how, 10 jobs, I guess, to see how employable I am in the UK job market, being in operations in the bank. I got rejection reply from them all. Could there be something I'm doing wrong? Absolutely, there's a lot of things you're doing wrong. That's why I run a mentorship program. You got 10 rejection, you are doing a whole lot of things wrong. Yeah. I may not be able to tell you everything here because that's what I sell as a product, right? I help people take their rejection and get multiple offers and win them a 6-figure job. But definitely, you're doing a lot of things wrong. Okay, I said I was going to spend 30 minutes here, and my 30 minutes Even though one supervisor is not. Okay, well, maybe I'll answer this one. How can one navigate the industry option after a PhD, even though one supervisor is not supportive? Your supervisor is not in the industry. Your supervisor is in academia. Your supervisor cannot know what you should do in the industry or what you should do to get a job in the industry. So why do you need your supervisor's support? You don't need your supervisor's support. Your supervisor doesn't work at Google or Desktop Metal. So why do you need this support? You need to talk to a career coach who works in the industry like Dr. Addy. That's what you need. You don't need your supervisor to support you to transition to the industry. Your supervisor wants you to do postdoc so that you can be publishing papers, and he's going to be the principal investigator, and you can build this career for him or her. That's what your supervisor wants. Because when you finish a PhD, you're good with lab work, you're good with writing papers, you're good with analysis. And that's when he can really utilize you to publish a whole lot of papers. They want to pay you $50,000 and keep you in that lab, and then you're publishing papers, and they're the principal investigator, so they can move from associate professor to full professor, or from assistant professor to associate professor. That's what your professor wants. Because that is what their career requires. So how do you expect such a person, after giving you money for 4 years, to be happy to let you go and not serve him and produce papers that will make his career go forward? How do you expect that person to support you? If I was a professor, I would not support you. So don't let's blame these professors for not supporting your transition into the industry, because they have funded you for 4 years and now you are good at making papers. Now you want to leave them and say goodbye and go and be working for Google. You think they want you to do that? It's not their fault. Your professor can never want you to go. So don't have a conversation about your next plan with your professor. It is not his cup of tea. That is why I say this all the time. You need to be in the driver's seat of your career. Your professor is a path for you. It's a path for both of you. You are getting funded and you are creating papers that add to the body of knowledge in his own name. Before he can get his next funding, he needs to show how many papers he has published, which is how many papers you and the rest of the team have published, and he's just supervising. You are his employees. When you people publish, he gets more money, he gets more glory, he gets award, right? That's how it works. You think such a person wants to leave that employee that he has coached for 4 years, and now he will hire another one and start to coach? Before that new one is coaching will catch up, is another 2 years. So a professor always prefers that you stay as a postdoc, because that's when it is advantageous to them. And when you stay as a postdoc, it's a contract employment. It could be 1 year or 2 years. If that's done, if they don't get more money, then they don't renew your contract. And when you stay with a professor, the pay is small. It's lower than half of what you'll be getting. I just shared a testimony about somebody who got over 100,000. I've used this type of talk to cover that boy. So yeah, after this PhD, I get out of that place. He listened. He did all of the things he's supposed to do. Now, before he's defending his thesis, he already have a job waiting for him. Do you think if he goes to talk to his professor when he was talking to me, do you think there will be a plan for him to transition? Do you think he will get an offer? Do you think he will be celebrating that he's now going to make a 6-figure job straight out of university? No, that's not going to happen. So please quit talking to your professor about your next step. Talk to a career coach about your next step, so that while you're in school, they will tell you what to do right now that will make you competitive for a job when you're about to graduate. That is not your professor's job. And once your professor knows those plans, they're actually scared. They don't want to support you too much. So don't shoot yourself in the foot by talking too much about your future plans. So in 2 days, we're going to have vision board party. And I know Nigerians, we don't understand what the vision board thing means. So also this last person that I spoke to last night, she came to the vision board program last year. And when she had a session with me yesterday, she told me I can credit, she bought a house this year. She moved up, she got a job this year. Now we're working on getting her another job for next year. She wrote 2 certifications this year. She told me last night, she said, I can credit all of those to the fact that I came to the vision board party. Everything I put down that I wanted to do, I did them all. I did them all because I kept hearing your voice. and the fact that there was a strategic plan on how I would do them during the vision board party. So I followed that strategic plan. And I was like, why haven't you written me that feedback? She said, I'm telling you, I know that I have access to you. You are my coach, so I could tell you physically. I would like you to come to the vision board party. This year, we bought over 6 houses, thanks to the vision board party. I'm not going to tell you the rest, but there's so many good things that happened to my family because I planned my year. You cannot go into next year without a good plan for all of your life. We call it a vision board bootcamp, but because they call it vision board, you just say, it's not that one. It's not every time that you want to go and learn SQL. It's not every time that you want to go and do data analytics. Sometimes you need to plan your whole career. Sometimes you need to plan your entire life. This is the party or the bootcamp where we do that. We're going to plan how we invest our money, whether we're buying stocks, whether we're buying houses. We're going to plan how to increase our portfolio for those people who have bought one house before. How do you buy more than one house? What is the strategy? We're going to break down to you how much will you gain within 18 months when you buy a house, where and where. We're going to break it down step by step. How do you trade stocks? How do you enter small? I'm breaking it down, how to develop a good career development plan. Whether you're starting your career now or you are already in my level and want to go up, what should you do step by step? It's not career competitiveness. It's not the other bootcamp. This is let us plan the next 5 years and the next 1 year together. We've been posting this thing 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Everybody say, I don't know. You will be here next year. Dr. Addy will still come and share that she has bought a block. Buy the block. They have bought a block. Oh, she'll not share everything. You share half. I bought that. Oh, I've been promoted. Oh, I'm changing. I've been Kiniko. She'll come and Kini. What do you want to share next year? You think if you don't plan, you don't remember that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And I just don't mean planning by yourself, just sitting down. Let people who have done it give you the strategy, so that your planning will be easy and throughout the year you have something to follow. Go and buy your vision board party ticket. I'm not reducing the price. It is worth more than that. I will not reduce the price. If you don't buy it, don't buy it. If it's 4 people that are coming, those 4 people, I will make sure they get value for their money. Everything that I teach on that, if you're my mentee, you've never heard it before. I am staying up at night and creating new content. This is not a content that I'm on a mentorship program. Nope, that is not the content. You haven't seen that before. I am creating new, fresh content. So, I went to the vision board party last year. Yes, I know, but that's not the content you're getting this year. It's virtual. It's on Zoom, 2 days, 6 to 8 hours of Dr. Addy just downloading everything until I'm empty. And other big people that have gathered together. Doctors, medical doctors, all of them. Oh yeah, the millionaire real estate people. Oh yeah, help me. I'll come here. I'll share. Well, I went to Canada the other day. I showed you guys 6 houses in 1 year. 6 houses. Oh, Shay, you didn't see all the houses. I mean, you think it's fin trick. I mean, you think I make $3 billion. I don't. There is a strategy. Why don't you want to know that strategy? I will not reduce the price. It is worth every penny. Shay, you think I make 3 million? How do you think I'm affording those? Why don't you want to learn? How do you want the Black community to actually be successful if you don't want to learn the strategy to be successful? Okay, baby dollar. Some people have paid their $100. You will still go and do dirty December. You buy clothes, the clothes that you wear once for Instagram. You will do shakara popo. You've taken picture. Next year you'll be congratulating Dr. Addy and other people she's posting. When do you want them to congratulate you? Saturday is the bootcamp. Find your $100,000, $100 paid. Put your money there. Let's make next year a year where we change the narrative of her village people. Erumaba village people gone now. Oh, you came with plan and prayer. Village people were so set there. I respect leadership, but the thing is, I want next year to be the year that there is a plan for you. So nobody can just come into your life and interrupt it and say, come and go and do it. You say, no, I already have my year plan. Let me follow that one. What I planned this year, that's what I am doing. Because you know that's it. Okay, 2 more questions. I have mentorship in 15 minutes and I still need to eat. But okay, 2 more questions. Shall I go and buy the ticket? I'm not reducing. There is no way to reduce the cost. Some of these speakers, they are gracious. I'm not paying them. Some of them, I'm paying them. So if I'm going to pay a speaker, and I'm not paying them some more money. So if I reduce the cost, how do you want me to pay them now? I have employees. I have people who work full-time on this team. Those are the people replying your messages here and there. They're the people sending all the newsletters. They get paid. So if I offer everything for cheap, how do you want me to grow the company? Okay, yes. Let's answer 2 more questions. Buy a Vision Board Bootcamp ticket. This is my last advertisement. All right. Okay, somebody asked here, is it compulsory for me to get an MSc or a PhD if I want to build my career in data analytics or data science? No, it's not. Especially data analytics. You don't need a master's, you don't need a PhD. I don't know what background you're in, but if you're ready, even today, people become software developer without going to any school. They self-teach themselves coding and they focus on a particular niche and they narrow it down and they learn it and they get jobs. You don't need more degrees to get into any of this career path. You just need a good plan. And once you have a good plan and then ability to follow through those plans and learn those skills, if you can do that, I feel like tech companies, they are at a point where they want you to have a degree, it's great, but if you don't, but you can show them your portfolio. So this is what I have done, this is my portfolio, and you can speak through that, and you know those skills. I think skills today may trump degrees. Skills are trumping degrees. So I would not tell you go and get another master's, go and get a PhD. I will say, which area do you want to focus on? What is the requirement for you to be able to do well at that job? Now, list those skills and tools and those drivers and go get them one by one. And as you get them, you will start to feel comfortable. You will start to see your self-esteem grow. You know, if I tell you that 8 years ago when I was in grad school, I had low self-esteem. Chijoke was my roommate. Chijoke would sit me down because I would just cry randomly and things weren't working. I had so low self-esteem, you wouldn't believe this in me. How did I got to a point where my self-esteem was built like this? As I start to collect skills, I start to learn more. You could see how confident I started becoming because I know something and I know it very well. I can speak about it comfortably in the presence of professors, in the presence of learned people. I can speak about these topics. I can do this work. If I have an interview and they say, take a computer and do that, I could do that. It helped me build my self-esteem as a person. So I would say you need to know what you need to learn and start learning them one by one and keep your head and make sure you put everything you've got in. You don't need another degree if you can't afford it or for some reason you don't want to do it. Get the skills, but get all the skills or most of the skills and don't just randomly get it skills. What I see in our community is people will say, so person is selling data analysis course. They'll go and buy. What that person is teaching you, how sure are you that that's all you need to become a data analyst? If you haven't done your skill mapping, you actually don't know if that's all you need. You're just following that person's advice. What if what the person has taught you is 1/10 of what you needed? Now you think you now know data analysis. Actually, maybe you know 1/10 of that because you haven't made a research on your own to know for a data analytics type of role, what would I need? So this course, is that course giving me 50%? Is it giving me 40%? Is it giving me 90%? I don't want you to just go and take a course and say, I've taken a course in data analytics, I think I know everything. You need to first of all know what it takes to be a data analyst and then go and learn all of those things. So whenever you see a course, you ask them for their curriculum. And then you look at the curriculum to say, okay, they have most of the things I'm looking for. That is the course I want to register for. Not just a generic course that somebody is selling and you're just following them blindly because you think they know what they're doing. What if they don't? All right. I hope that helps. What is the best way for a skilled worker to migrate to the States? I believe you mean the US. I think the best way, depending on your career, is EB2 NIW. If you go on my YouTube, I actually brought another PhD who is a consultant who actually do that for people. She walked us through the EB2 NIW route, which is the National Interest Waiver stream. And this National Interest Waiver depends on the US who the people they're looking for are in terms of what the country needs. Right now, it's divided into a couple of categories. We have the tech categories, we have the public health categories, several categories. So there is EB1, there is EB2, there are a couple of categories. But the one that most skilled worker can come through is the EB2 category, but they're looking for certain people. If you happen, like the person who said he studied computer science, so the requirement for EB2 NIW is 5 years experience and a bachelor's degree if you are in the field that qualifies for EB2. And they may require some other things like recommendation letters and stuff like that, but the core requirement is 5 years of work experience and a bachelor's degree. But you need to find out, so you can Google it, EB2-NIW. You need to find out the field that I'm in. Do I qualify for that stream? If I do, how much experience do I have? Do I have the right degree? What I'm doing right now, can I claim that? And then you can find a consultant who can help you through the process with some of the letters that have to be drafted, the petition and stuff like that. But that pathway is it doesn't take up to a year for you to get your green card to migrate to the US. The second path is the H1B or the work route, where that route to the hiring computer scientists and all of those people who are lucrative, right? So you can come to the US to work on a work permit if your company hires you. Now, a lot of the companies are actually hiring people and keeping them in their country. I must tell you that I had worked with 2 people at least, and we have also seen a couple of testimonials here, where people who actually live in Nigeria got jobs with US companies that are paying them 6-figure salary, and they're still in Nigeria. They didn't have to leave. They were living in Nigeria, they were paying less money, they're working from their living room, and they're making good money. So in some cases, you may not actually have to move. So you didn't mention here what your career path is, so I'm not able to personalize this, but I hope that at least give you some insights on how to go and start your research. Thanks. This person said, how about those of us who seem to fit everywhere? It looks like I can do everything so long I want. I'm scared I might be getting distracted. I read human settlement planning, basically spatial planning. Current a guest relations officer in a 5-star hotel. Who told you you fit into everywhere? Who? What do you mean by everywhere? Because I don't understand what you mean by everywhere. At least you can't do a job of a software engineer. So what do you mean by everywhere here? Can you tell me a little more about what everywhere means so you can help me? But I don't think you fit everywhere. I think you fit in some places. Yeah. I'm just reading no question or finding a question that Yeah, can one negotiate internship and co-op? Yes, I always negotiate for my co-ops. Yeah, there was somebody last internship, like, oh, my co-op. I negotiate for all those my co-op people, those ones that come to me and they're going to co-op. But yeah, my aim, I think one thing that I enjoy doing the most is negotiation, because I figure how the HR is thinking, and then I will come with my own engineering psychology. Because if I was an HR person, I know how HR people thinks, and I know the type of response they're expecting from people like me. But over time, I've gotten to understand how they think and what they're expecting, and then I just give them what they're not expecting. And usually it's always like, So yeah, I'm telling you there, you can negotiate internship. In some cases, I always say, always just negotiate. Even if they come back and say, sorry, that's all we can do, you still need to negotiate. And some negotiation may be due to, maybe they're asking you to move. Maybe, you have to say, you look at what's the condition so you know how to negotiate, right? Because some negotiation, people just do it for negotiation's sake. But you need to look at the total package and say, hey, they're asking me to move. That's going to cost money. They didn't allocate any money for relocation. There's no yearly, let's say this is a real job. There's no yearly bonus. Why is that? Most companies have yearly bonus. Oh, this is a tech company. They should have RSU. Why don't they have RSU? What's the range on the market for this role? Don't go to Glassdoor. Go to Dr. Addy or a career coach. They can tell you your old range, because Glassdoor will just tell you, girl, a low rate. Shadow the range, so that when you're having conversation, you can tell them on the market today, your competitor, your other companies like you, this is what they would pay co-op. Also, I am going to have to relocate, and I would require some support there. I believe a compensation of so may be ideal for the relocation, or you let them give you a number. So you have to mention why you're negotiating. Don't just negotiate for the heck of it. You have to study what they provided and see what are areas that you think are completely missing that should be asking, apart from just saying, I want more money on the base, right? So, yeah. Okay, everyone, that's the last question I'm taking. Thank you all for joining, 113 of you. I appreciate your time today. And maybe, I don't know, because next tomorrow is Bootcamp and Sunday. So I may not see you guys until next week. If my team forced me to come here tomorrow, I will have to come, because they want more people to buy the bootcamp ticket. There is value that we've prepared for that bootcamp. I'm not sleeping well at night because I'm waking up to make the slides for the bootcamp, because it's not old slides. I'm making new slides. Come to the bootcamp. Thank you. Is this useful for you? Do you want me to save it, or you want me to delete it? Do you want me to save it? If I save this, promise me you'll share this with somebody. You'll share this on your story. You'll tag us so you can repost. All right. Please share this with people. Share this on your page and share it with your WhatsApp group, your family WhatsApp group. And we answered a lot of questions. So this was in focus, so people can go through and see what's useful for them. Please, I'll save it based on your suggestions. So please share it. I'm begging you, buy a bootcamp ticket. Even if you think I can't attend, let us know. We will have recordings for 2 weeks. So let us know. Still pay for it, but let us know you won't be able to attend. And the people who didn't attend, they'll get the recording. I do not plan to sell the recording, FYI. So after the boot camp, if people say nice things and you tell me I want to buy a recording, you're not getting the recording. So come to the live session. And I was planning on 6 hours, but I plan on another hour for Q&A for both days. So it's literally going to be 8 hours. Come to the boot camp. Have a good night. Bye.